Alright, so if you're going to add caves to your game, it may help if you have some stalagmites. So I started drawing one. Now I'm going to be honest, guys. I had planned this as a short tutorial about how to draw a cave formation, but if your stalagmite starts turning out like a weird ice cream cone or a sad tiered cake, it may help if someone comes over and says, "Hey, you know that thing you drew? It looks bad. You should change it." Even if you just spent the past 2 hours drawing it and you don't know, or at least I didn't really see what was wrong just yet. It was then that my wife gave it a shot. So now I guess you get two time-lapse tutorials, one for how to make a stone coral ice cream cone, and the other for how to make an actual stalagmite. Now you may notice that in our game, the caves exist in the same scene as the overworld. We could have put these in a separate place, but I like preserving the spatial aspect of things. With this setup, you can go into the cave and back out somewhere else in the same area. It may not make sense for many of the buildings, but I do think that this works here. Alright, now for the tricky part. Getting inside. We need to hide the layers above the cave and change the cliff texture to something more cavey and black around the edges. So far I've just taken a little shortcut here and blackened the top of the forest cliffs. A full set of extended cliff tiles could take a long time to make, so I wasn't ready to tackle that just yet. I'm not sure if having bouldered caves is really all that wrong, but it may be nice to have something a little more smooth looking. We also need to turn off anything that is hidden in the overworld, and it'd be nice to do it all smoothly. Somehow we'll have to mask the transition, but when I think of entering a real cave, it does take time for your eyes to adjust to the darkness. So if we can gradually mask the area with black, it should simulate that effect. And the reverse also applies when you exit a cave. The brightness can blind you, so we'll just mask that with the white on the way out. Unless it's night. Then we'll make it dark instead. This could be a job for an animator, but that would assume that the player is always committed to fully entering the cave once the animation starts. I guess we could control the player movement with the animation, but that seems a little more of a scene-changing thing and not exactly what we're looking for. We'll tie this to a physics process instead, but just make sure to shut it off when we're not using it. And this is doable if you put it in a separate child node. So when we enter the area collider, it turns on the node with the physics process, which allows a smooth transition. Then, when you get far enough away, the node shuts itself off. This way, all of our matte transitions aren't processing 60 times a second when we're not even using them at all. So this is what we're after. The fade color is the overworld color. This bit here controls opacity based on length or distance from the center of the matte transition. And this exit color is set to black or white when the physics node turns on. Multiply white by 1 to keep the overworld color, and multiply by black or 0 to make the overworld color black. Now it's time to draw in some more sprites to fill this cave. And do we switch out the ground color? I like the contrast, but it does seem to clash with the walls. We can use the transition to switch out the overworld textures that the cave is initially built with. So this should be switching out the cave walls with colors that match the floor. Okay, let's try switching out the floor colors to match the walls instead. It does seem a little plain, doesn't it? I think we'll add a cave floor with a different crack texture directly to our ground's tile set, and use the tan as a broken path. I want to see how this looks, but we'll need to draw the transitions first. I think we'll save that for next week. And that wraps up another devlog for Ode Generations Aiden, a pixel art RPG that's based off my wife's book series. Caves are an important part of her world, so we have to get this right. I'm excited to start adding more assets to these caves. Things like stalactites and columns and lichen and light crystals and ore deposits and all the other things that good caves want. I'm also thinking about how to cast dynamic shadows off the cave walls. Also, Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to support the channel and see more content like this. See you later.